Welcome back, everybody. We back, Jack, for another episode of Monte's Gems. This week we have a very, very special guest. It's our big widow sister, Whitty. Whitty, Whitty, introduce yourself to the party.
Heyo. Thanks for having me.
So
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for coming.
you're welcome. Me, Jake, Josh, Isaac. Brittany is in between Josh and Isaac, so I think she's going to have a lot of stories where she tells on our previous guests and gives us some great experiences about what it was like having an older brother and a younger brother, very close in age. What's the age difference between you and Josh?
Josh and I are 2 years, and then Isaac is a year, a month, and 10 days younger than me.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize you were closer to Isaac than you were Josh.
Yeah. Yep.
Huh. So I think we wanted to start off, I guess, this story about I think something that's unique about the three of us that we all share an interest. I think we had a really big passion for sports in terms of that was something that we were all three super committed to do. I played college baseball in high school. I really enjoyed sports. I mean, it was my main thing that I just really looked forward to. Played football, golf, swimming, basketball, baseball in high school. Not all at once, but usually each year I was playing at least three sports. So I just always enjoyed being active. And today, as I look in my adult life, like I don't really have this huge passion for traveling or sightseeing. Like if you could just give me a ball and like people who are like my skill level to go play, I just love competing. It's just I don't know, something that gives me a lot of happiness and stuff. And I think people just like are like, dude, why don't you want to travel? It's like I don't know. I just like doing this. This is all I like doing. Um, so I guess Brittany, like you essentially grew up. You were the first girl, three older brothers. Like, what do you think that was like?
Uh, well, I think mom had kind of just imagined me to be this girly girl, and with two older brothers, and then one just a year younger than me, basically. It was kind of hard. I mean, I grew up and I was expected to do the same thing the boys do. If the boys were going to go do something, I wasn't going to be left out. So I just joined what you guys were doing. You guys were playing baseball. I was in there. Like, you guys were playing in the dirt. I'm playing in the dirt too. So, like, I got a tomboy. His name is kind of what it was. It's always been, but I mean, it's hard when you don't have a sister, really. Like, I have two sisters, so I have a sister and a half sister. But when all you know is boys, like all your life, it's just that's what you do as a girl in a
Mhm.
family full of boys. And then Ashley is just so much younger than me that it was like, at that point, it's like, yeah, I already was set in my ways and competing with boys, that it's just, that's all
Mhm.
I knew.
So when you talk about you felt like it was what was expected of you, where do you think those expectations came from, or is that just like a thought process that you had? It's just like, well, like who's going to teach me to do these other things? So I might as well just learn from people who are good at something different than what girls are normally good at.
Yeah, I think just I don't know, I just think growing up, like I didn't know who else was going to teach me those things. So like you boys just kind of always showed me, and then I was just like, okay, you can do it, but I'm gonna try to do it better than you. Like I'm not gonna let you win at things, and like I'm always gonna compete. Um, so yeah, I just think that that was something that I expected of myself almost too, even at a young age. Like you never think you expect things of yourself, but like I am very particular how I like things, and I think I like perfection of myself.
Hmm.
What do you think has brought that forth?
I don't actually know really. Like I see kind of how other people do things, and like I just think I've always kind of been a perfectionist. Like I have OCD too, I think, in some aspects. Like there's people at work tell me that I have the cleanest office they've ever seen, and it's so organized. And we actually have these success people that come around and they take pictures of all the people who have very unorganized office, and like if there's boxes and stuff all over in their office. And like the joke is like nobody ever takes a picture of my office because it's always so organized. But that's the pickiness in me, and like I like things to be perfect, and there's a certain way all the papers need to be. And yeah, that's just how I am, and I that's how I've always been. But it's the same thing around the house. Like if Kevin has too many things, then I'm like, okay, we need to get rid of something. We need to sell it in the garage sale. We need to get. He's like, but you never know when we're gonna need it. But it's just that I like things the way I like things. So yeah, I think I've just always been that way.
Do you think your ownership group has like a picture of your office and it's like the model office and it's what they use to compare the standard of what all of their offices look like? And they're like, all right, take a picture of that one. That one's way off from this and this one.
Well, so like so each line has their own success people. And so I think our operations manager is the one who gets all the pictures, but every time it's of his office and his office is right next to mine and we always see like the kid looks like he's probably I don't know, he looks younger. He's like 22, 23, but he always goes in there at certain times when Taylor's not in there and he just takes pictures of his office and I'm like, "Dude, clean the place up a bit. Like let me help you." And he's like, "No, it's fine. I need all of it." And I'm like, "You really don't. Throw it away." But yeah, I mean, it's very possible. I don't know if they take pictures of my office or not, but yeah.
That's really interesting that your work has enough time on their hands to go around and take pictures of people's office. Like, is it because they assume that unclean or unorganized offices like bring down the workflow, or like what would you say that is?
Yeah, so it's not only just the office people, it's actually the line people too. So like if you're going around and you look at an unorganized cabinet and like the tools are just laying all over, they're looking to build the best product in the quickest way possible, but also quality. So like if your tools aren't organized and you go to grab a tool, then and it's not organized, then you spend more time trying to find that tool than you would if it was organized and you could just go grab the tool, get the job done. And then you're scatterbrained when you can't find a tool. So when you're looking for something specific, and if it's where it needs to be or where you want it to be, and then you go look and it's not there, unorganization just it doesn't work well, and cleanliness also doesn't work well. So if you're not clean and organized, it doesn't help you flow better than when you are clean and organized.
No, that's just interesting. Like, this is the first that I've heard of a company going around and taking pictures of each, like the unorganization, which I mean makes a lot of sense, especially with what you guys are in. You guys are making trailer factories, and that all influences how efficiently, how quickly, and how profitable you can be in the long run. It's how profitable we can be. Either the profit margins that we have on each trailer that we're making by low cost, low time spent, or the ability to be able to make more trailers in a smaller amount of time because of that efficiency factor. I mean, like when you first talked about it, I was like, dude, like that's micromanaging to a T. Like that's a little getting a little like too much with that. But it's like, wow, that's really actually impressive that your company is like looking at all aspects of the business like that. Cause like just think about how many companies aren't doing that, you know, and each company probably in existence could be way more efficient, way more profitable if they would look at every small little minute detail of their business, like you guys do. Has that always been that way in trailer factories? Is that specific to this company that you work for?
No, so I've been at Jayco for almost, so October will be my 10th year. So I've been on the line for, I'm going to say almost 8 years of this. And when I first started, I mean, this will be we're going to move here soon. So this will be my second time moving. When we were in the other plant, it was always like, hey guys, we need to make sure the workspace is clean. But here in the last couple of years, I'd probably say since COVID, they've just put it into effect. Like, hey, we're going to do this. We've hired these people to help us become successful, to help us be more. It's not that we're not successful, it's to be more successful. How do we do the things the best way that we can possibly do them? So it's not just these group of people that are called the success group. Um, it's also like the operations managers from every line. They go around and they grade each other. They'll take pictures of each other's lines and then they'll grade each other on their line. So like, hey, we're doing it this way. Maybe it'll help you. So there's, I'm gonna say at least probably 15 lines just on the Middlebury complex, that all kind of grade each other. So there's like a towable division and a motorized division. I'm in towables, and I know that's how towables do it, but I'm not 100% sure that motorized does them the same way. But I know for sure that like all the towable lines, that's what they do is they just get together and Jayco put something into place, and then once something is in a place, everybody at Jayco kind of just hops on board and do what they're asked of. So it's really nice in that aspect to work for a company where everybody has the same goals and everybody wants to get to success all the same way, I guess I would say.
So when a company does that, a big company that has a lot of different departments, how do you think they go about doing that and essentially keeping eyes on each other department and essentially watching over each department without there being division? Like Tobal saying like, oh, like the welding department where Josh is, like they're just like they're getting to be a little too much. They're just trying to make fun of us. They're trying to degrade us and talk down on us versus everybody just working together as a team to be the best that they can. Like how do you view that, and how do they try to like make sure that doesn't happen?
So like how do they go about it without stepping on each other's toes? So like I think when that happens, like so Josh is in a weld shop. So we have weld shops, we have mill rooms, and we have laminations. Those are all like a side department. So I feel like side departments grade side departments, and then like the actual towable lines will grade the towable lines, and then motorized would grade the motorized line. So as motorized, you're expecting all the same thing because you guys are running the same type of unit. You may not be running as big of a unit, but you're still expected, you still know how your motorized units go. Everyone has to be going to paint shop. So like the what's the word I want to use for it? You just know what is expected of the motorized lines, I think, and I think that's how they grade each other. So that because if a motorized comes over to let's say the smallest unit we build and they're grading each other, like that's just not I don't know, I would say fair, I guess. Maybe because I mean, you guys are building tiny units and your line is perfectly clean, but here we are building $1 million unit that is 4 or 5 times the size of your teeny tiny unit, so you can't expect the same thing from both lines, I think.
No, but you can scale it down, right? So on a small scale to a large scale, they are definitely measurable. But like, what about like department against department? How would you say Jayco keeps there from being resentment from department?
Like from like a purchasing to like engineering type, or like just from
Yeah, or
like
inside the company, or is there just resentment all over the place where you're like,
I
they're
mean, there
idiots?
is some of that too, but like so like the offices they don't worry about as much as they do the line because the line is what makes Jayco money. Putting units out the door is what makes Jayco money. So I mean the offices that we're just like our office is dirty, or oh our officers are clean, or hers is perfect and his is a hot mess, and I don't think there's much resentment in it. I actually do think like genuinely people just try to work together.
Wow. And then so you talked about your perfectionist mindset is what kind of got you off to talking about how organized your desk was. Like, do you feel like sometimes your perfectionism has been a disadvantage to like maybe your mindset and your well-being?
I think it's more of a disadvantage at what I expect from other people. So like if I'm a perfectionist, sometimes I expect other people to be a perfectionist. So like there's a couple jobs I've done in the company and it's like, okay, so everyone in my group, I've done all the jobs but the one girl. So it's like, okay, I know how that job is supposed to be done and now you guys aren't meeting those expectations, but my expectations for that job are just way too high and nobody can meet it. Um so I think that's where it becomes a disadvantage. So like if you're doing this and it affects my job and I know how that job is supposed to be done because it is a direct effect to my job, it gets frustrating and then it just puts you in a bad mood and then yeah, I guess I would say yeah, it affects my well-being too just because when you're in a bad mood then it's like you don't want to be at work, you don't want to go to work, you don't want to do the things you need to do every day and a job that you actually enjoy, it really does affect the job you enjoy.
Yeah, the main reason I asked that is because I have a large perfectionist personality as well. And I think sometimes it's got to a point where I think I can control everything in life and I have control over it. And in reality, there's a lot of things that I don't have control of. So once you kind of step away from that and realize that there's only so much you can control, and when you try to do your best, it's okay when the results may not pan out or people don't do exactly what you expect them to do. Like if you have high expectations, I think that's one of the difficult things, is really trying to have healthy expectations of people, and also maybe not, sometimes not even having expectations of not expecting things of people, and just going on asking, and if it doesn't happen or they don't respond, that's okay, and it's just a nothing, versus like, well, why didn't they respond? Because we ourselves, if someone were to do that to us, we would expect ourselves to give an answer, to always have an answer, to always have to feel like we have to explain ourselves. And then I think the longer I've gotten out of that perfectionist mindset, I realize, hey, like I don't need to give an answer about every single thing. I don't need to give you that. Like you don't have control over me, in terms of, oh, why didn't I do this, or why didn't I do that from friends, or what did that feel like? Anything like that. It's just like, yeah, I don't need to answer that.
Yeah, and it's not just work too. It's expectations of what I expect out of my friends, but it's also why like I don't have very many friends. Like my family is my friends, but when you have, I mean, when there's 7 of you as kids, like who needs friends? Like I have more friends than I could ever need just in my brothers and sisters. So I expect a lot of people or a lot of things out of friendships. Like if I'm going to put all of this energy and effort into something, then I expect the same thing. So I just try to be the best person I can be. And perfectionist also causes me to worry a lot. And then I got anxiety about certain things, and yeah, it's not great all the time, but I try to remove myself from that as well and just realize, heck, hey, not everybody is going to be like you. So you have to change your mindset sometimes.
Yeah, and see, that's something that I'm still trying to figure out, because I think almost all of us kids have a perfectionist mentality. And I'm not really 100% sure just where that comes from, or how that happened. I know mom and dad were super meticulous, like about the cars, like washing the cars every week. But there's certain things that I just don't, like my apartment. Okay, like I got a blanket over there that's not folded. I got books on this, so it's not like super like well kept. It's not like it's dirty, or like I'm a super big hoarder. I mean, I could probably sweep the floor and stuff like that. But there are certain things that I'm very particular about, and that's like what time I go to bed, what time I wake up, what I eat, what I do, like I got to be at the gym and those types of things. And so I don't know. I've always tried to figure out where that mindset comes from, or how it had affected us so much as a kid. I don't know. I think sometimes it has to do with growing up in maybe the Midwest too, where there's just really seems like a pretty strong work ethic, where people realize that in order to be successful, you got to work hard, and not having stuff just given to us, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, you said that you have a blanket over there and books over here, and like in me, the OCD is saying, hey, go fold that blanket really quick, like stop the podcast, go fold it, go fix your books. Like that's just how I am. Like I mean, my floors aren't swept all the time. We have a dog, so like we could probably sweep every day, but the OCD in me just tells me like, hey, if I walk by a blanket, it's not folded, I need to fold it. Like that's just I honestly don't know where it came from, because like that's kind of how it's always been. But I almost think sometimes too, like, do you remember like how much like we cleaned the house at the log cabin and whatnot? It was like, okay, so like everything expected, like everything had its place, I think. Do you think that or not really?
I didn't really clean that much. Like maybe mom did. She was
Me
always
neither.
cleaning. I was like, I did not care about that. Like for me, the blanket, it's like, okay, yeah, like it's right where it is. If I need to use it, I'll just slide right under it. It's there. Like if I fold it, then I have to unfold it, and then I have to put on me this book. Like it's like, okay, there's nothing else that's here right now. So if I just come here, I'm gonna pick it up and I'm gonna read it. So I'm not wasting as much time. Like me, it's like time is money, time is energy. So I want to have things available versus like put away in some cabinet and then I got to go find it and then I pull it out. It's like, well, that was just like 15 seconds I just wasted of my life.
Yeah, I
But I
don't
could have
know.
been scrolling through
When the cleaning and
Sure.
whatnot at the log cabin, like Josh, Isaac, and I were expected to clean, but like, do you see Josh and Isaac like really cleaning? Like, did they seem like the people that are gonna help clean? Because no, it was more pushed on me, and they were like, "Hurry up and get it done so we can go play outside" or something like that. And then mom would yell at us, and it's like, "Well, mom has to re-clean the house because you two didn't help me any, so here I am doing it by myself, and we quickly do it just so we could go outside and do whatever."
Yeah. And it's also the whole high expectations thing. I mean, it's just, I remember growing up, it just being nailed into you. I don't think it's necessarily Midwestern values or anything. I mean, our parents saw that it's not hard to, I don't know, it's not hard to be the hardest worker at a place because it's like most people are working, they're working to get a check. They're not working their absolute hardest. They're over there screwing around, doing this, doing that, and it's like to beat the normal expectations of an everyday worker, it's not very hard because people really aren't passionate about what they're doing, so therefore they just don't care. And it was time and time again, it's just hammered into our brains constantly. Dad saying more than anything, it's like hard work. It's not hard to be a hard worker. It's just something that was nailed into us.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. As I look into life, though, I'm not sure that being the hardest worker always results in having the most success. Because I know for me, at previous jobs, whether it's Kendrick's or maybe sometimes at the restaurant where I'm working hard and I'm trying to go as fast as I can and I'm trying to do things where I miss opportunities to be able to connect with people, whether it be possibly be ownership or management, where I never created those connections and those friendships to be able to progress higher and higher because I was always just so busy trying to be the best at my job and working really hard to hope that I would be able to prove that. And I think that's something you have to be careful of from the mindset we were kind of talking, is that hard work is important, but it's also important to be able to maybe communicate to your leaders and give them the time and listen and be able to set those things aside when someone important is there, and to be able to also bring up things and concerns and those types of things. And I think just versus being the hardest worker and not learning and trying to move up, you know.
Mm.
Yeah, I think sometimes.
But
Sorry, go ahead.
go ahead.
So sometimes I think being the hardest worker, I think it has its downfalls, like, too, because, like, okay, so hey, I'm at a trailer factory. They see I'm the hardest worker. I know how to do A, B, and C is jobs. So hey, if person doing B job isn't getting the done, since you know how to do it, why don't you just help them do it? And in that, you aren't learning and they aren't learning either. So I think that has that downfalls there too.
Also with no financial compensation.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that only has a downfall if you're a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Whereas if you come to realization that these people have to learn and that you are a hard worker, you will go there and you will create boundaries and say, hey, listen, like, we got to get you going faster. What is it that I need to do to be able to help you? But your current work ethic isn't working out, and I need you to be at a higher speed. And so, like, doing that instead of, I think, like, if I look at mom, like at Savory, she was just like it wasn't like she was helping. It was like, you can give a man a fish, or you can teach a man to fish, and he can be fed for days. And like, she would just go and do people's work, which, because she was a hard worker and she would get her stuff done. Whereas, like, yeah, they just took advantage of that though, and it's like, well, did you compensate for it? No. Well, it's like, well, why are you just doing other people's work, especially if they're letting you do it? Like, that's where you got to be a leader and stand up and say, hey, listen, guys, we got to do a better job. And if you're not going to be able to do a better job, we're going to find somebody who can. And then it's just like, oh, okay.
Well, the problem is too, like, I'm not just saying like the younger generation, but like, because there's a lot of people out there that just don't want to work and they don't want to be better, and they're okay with being mediocre, but it's sad when you want more for them than they want for themselves.
Hmm.
Because I find that a lot, because it's like, okay, hey guys, like, hey, come ask me questions, come ask me how I did it, how I think is best efficient, like how it worked out for me and what ways I did it to your advantage. But then when they don't ask those questions, it's like, okay, whatever, like I don't know what else to do in those situations.
But what do you think it is in people's mindset that gets them to that mental state?
Like, to just not want to do anything?
Or like, to seem like they may not care?
Well,
Because obviously they want to make more money, right? Like, it's seems
Well,
like everybody
no.
wants to make more money. They want to be able to have more things. They want to be able to acquire more things. They just don't associate being able to learn things, working harder, could be able to give them that opportunity to make more money, to be able to have more things, have nicer things, and to grow, right?
Yeah, but like at the same time, so okay, so at our jobs, there's a buyer and a senior buyer. So I'm a buyer, could be a senior buyer when there's an opening. Not available right now. Okay, like would I want to do it? I don't know. Do I want to make more money? Yeah. Do I want to learn more? Yeah. So it's something I may one day just have to do. So we also have like inventory controller and senior inventory controller. But like the person at the inventory controller doesn't even want anything to do with the senior inventory controller. And it's nothing different in the job. It's just a title so that they can get paid more. So when you tell me you don't want to be that, like so you don't want to make more money is what I'm getting. Like, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But it could be the mental stress from being accountable
Yeah.
and all the things that you have to deal with like that. Like it just could be very overwhelming to them, to where they feel like they aren't able to handle all those things coming at them so quickly.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, I just
So
didn't think I've never I've thought about it and I'm like, okay, you're an inventory controller or you're a senior inventory controller. The job is literally no different. It's just a title with more money. So I
Hmm.
don't know. Sometimes I get told like just because it makes sense to you doesn't mean it makes sense to everyone else around me. I've been told that a couple of times at work and I'm like,
Hmm.
well, I can't. Just because I think it's common sense doesn't mean it's common sense to everyone else.
Hmm.
no, yeah. And then, so growing up, like, do you feel like you had a natural desire to like be feminine and be a little girly girl and like go act like another girl, or like do you think it was forced upon you to like just play sports, and that's how you just kind of realized, I just want to play sports and I want to be this? Like, did you ever have that like natural desire, do you think, or do you think that's something that's just learned?
No, okay, as I'm older, I find myself sometimes wanting to be that, but at the same time, I am who I am, and like playing sports and doing all the things I did, that made me who I am. And I like as a kid, I never wanted to be the girly girl, but like mom putting me in dresses every day until I was in 8th grade, like dude, I hated that. I remember like for picture day one day, mom was like, "Okay, this is what you're wearing." And I'm like, "No, we're playing football at recess. No way am I wearing that." It was this like black and white checkered dress, and I had tights and like all the things. So I don't know. You remember Aston George? So like her and I were the
Yeah.
only like girl athletes in our class, and it was like yeah, we'll play with the 8th graders. Like we don't care.
Mhm.
Um, so I remember going out at recess, and I remember actually diving for a football and like coming in. My tights were ripped, my knees were bloody, and Mrs. Balzer at the time was like, "We got to get you cleaned up. You haven't even had your pictures yet." And I was like, "Ah, it's fine. It's just my knees. Like they're not going to see my knees anyways. It'll be all right." And then I remember like not smiling at all in that picture. I just stood there and was, and then mom and dad got our pictures back, and dad just kind of laughed at it because he was like, "Well, she hates wearing them. Like, why do you make her wear them?"
Yeah.
So then mom made me get some retakes, and she put me in the same freaking dress again. I was like, "Okay, fine, I'll smile this time, but I'm not gonna like it, and I'm gonna change after pictures because I just, yeah." So no, as a kid, I never really had a desire to be that girly girl.
Hmm.
And then like what about like your haircuts? Did you feel like you were forced to have haircuts that you didn't want to
Yeah,
have, or what?
yeah. I mean, you didn't call me Shirley Temple or give me all the stupid names you gave me. Like I can't even
I
remember.
did.
Yeah, you always used to make fun of me. I used to get made fun of for my name and my haircuts. I think you were actually the one that started the whole Curly Sue or something at Trinity, and then everybody called me. I hated it.
No, I thought it was like it was Josh Wendy's, wasn't
No,
it?
I was pretty sure that you were the one who started it because I remember like 'cause David George and you guys would all start calling me it, and I was like, okay, this is annoying. But yeah, you also made up songs about me and my name. It was always Brit Barat taking a bath. Like you would always do stupid stuff like that to me.
That doesn't sound like Chad.
Yeah, no, not at
I
all.
don't
Chad
remember
is
that.
No,
such a
yeah,
nice
you would never
guy
do
all the
that.
time. Never makes fun of everybody, anybody, and never makes anybody bad.
Nope.
I mean, growing up, what were your favorite sports to play?
Oh, baseball for sure was my favorite. I would say baseball, and then well, I don't know, basketball, and then I actually liked playing football with. I thought football was fun, so but it was never a sport that like I ever played.
The sport that I remember the most was when you played soccer, and I think you were like 8 years old, or I don't remember, but you were just playing against girls, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I don't even
Yeah.
remember that.
So you were in the, I think you were the younger of the two ages, and like Dad just like loved that because like I think he was keeping track of how many goals you scored in a season, like, and
Yeah.
it was like 58 or something like that. And there was like one game where you had 8 goals and you made a girl cry, and you like
I
he
I
was
kicked
like
a girl
he
in
had
the
all these
stomach,
stats. He
and
had
then
a whole great big stat
I kicked a girl in the stomach, made her cry, and then I gave a girl a bloody nose too. So I remember both of those.
with the ball, though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Let's just make like sure you weren't like starting fights, make it sound like you were starting fights up there or anything like that.
No,
But then the next year, they made you go to the age group above you, and you didn't like it because you didn't score as many goals.
no, right. And then I don't think I played soccer much after that, actually.
I mean, would you have rather have played baseball than playing softball?
Yeah, I just enjoyed it more. Like I don't know if it was just because I that's what I knew is like I was always competitive with the boys, so that's what I knew. So I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go play with a bunch of wimpy girls, and it's like I don't know if I'm really gonna like softball until
Hmm.
I don't even think I don't even think I played softball until I was almost too old to play little league anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I think I played one year where I played both baseball and softball, and then I just played softball after that.
Did you hit any home runs in little league?
No, no,
Okay, so you never hit a home run playing baseball.
no,
Oh,
no.
okay.
Just struck lots of boys out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, Dad always said I had Aaron Brew's jersey or Aaron Brew's number. Every time he would get up, I'd strike him out, and then he'd go throw his helmet, throw his bat, and his dad would be yelling at him at the dugout, and Dad's over on the other side, way to go, Britt, laughing and just stirring it up like he always does.
I mean, okay, so let's go back to that. Baseball was really the only sport where I guess you were played. Like, what were your thoughts on playing sports with boys? Like, being the only girl that was playing, and like thinking back about it now, like, were you uncomfortable? Do you think boys were uncomfortable? Like,
Think I was ever uncomfortable. Just because that's how I grew up. Now were other boys probably uncomfortable? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they never had sisters and just didn't know how to react, or like I guess I'm not really sure. But I was never uncomfortable. I liked it. But I think one of the things I remember as a child was seeing like the Mia Hamm Michael Jordan commercial where it was like anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you. So I enjoyed playing because it's like, okay, boys, like you can do it, but so can I, and I'm gonna try to do it better than you did. So I just think that was just something that I always lived by, and I think that's almost like why I enjoyed playing baseball more than I liked playing softball, just because it's more competitive. I think.
Hmm. Did you try to play
and what?
baseball later than that? Like, did you try to
No,
keep
I
playing
wasn't allowed.
baseball?
No, I don't. After Little League, like I wasn't allowed to play Kofax or anything like that.
Did you try to?
No, because Dad just had me playing
Oh,
softball, and then I liked it enough, and I was like, well, there's no point in even trying. So I just played softball for the
right.
rest of it.
Huh.
And when it came to like watching sports, what did you like to watch? Women's sports?
Um, Not as much. Like now I do. Now I enjoy like following the WNBA actually. It's not bad. So I support it more now than I did like I used to just like only like to watch baseball and like that's what I love to watch and it was more men's sports than any women's sports ever.
So now, like when it comes to maybe watching women's sports more, why would you say you have that desire to watch that?
I don't think women get the credit for the sports they play like men do. Like obviously like men make all of this money and women don't because people are more apt to watch a men's sport than they are a women's sport. Um, but in my head, if you think about it, they're doing the same job. There's no difference. It's just men versus women. We're all people, but like not as many people watch women's sports, so they can't get the revenue that men's sports get, in my opinion. So
But it was interesting because you said you wanted to play baseball because you felt like it was more competitive.
yeah, which it is, but it isn't. Like I don't know. They're like if you look at college sports or professional sports, like those women are like really good. Like they're good athletes.
Yeah, but what would happen if they would play the worst NBA team?
I I mean, they're still good. Like they have to be good. Like yeah, they're probably not as good as everybody else, but they're still good.
I think there was a
Do
thing
you think
that
you could make a WNBA team, Chad?
What
Do you think you could play for a WNBA team?
do I think I could?
Yeah.
Yes,
Like, you're an athlete. Oh, and you think you'd be good at it.
yes.
That's like saying that you could hit a pitch off of Jenny Finch in softball.
A what?
A pitch, like for Jennifer Finch to pitch you a ball, and you could just hit a home run, first pitch. Easy.
Definitely.
You're ridiculous.
I'm pretty sure I saw this thing where the U.S. women's the U.S. women's soccer team, they played a high school boys team, like a high school varsity boys team, and they lost in soccer.
Oh, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I saw something where like a WNBA team played like a good boys high school basketball team and lost.
How would that work? No, I did not make mine up. He's probably making his up because how would that work with a different size ball? Like it's very different. If you take a women's ball, like were they playing with a men's ball or a women's ball?
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
I think it was men.
you probably made it up, didn't you? Well, then, yeah, that definitely puts
No.
them at a deficit of. I mean, if you shoot a women's ball and if you're used to shooting a women's ball your whole life and then shoot a men's ball, it's very different.
No, yeah, I mean, I get that it's different. I'm just saying, like, oh, okay,
No, I
so
know.
what? You want the men to use a smaller ball, then they'll be
Yeah.
better.
Slam dunking it behind their back and.
I just did not expect Brittany to say that she watched like WNBA women's sports. It's just like, I mean, I guess I thought maybe you were going to say you watched the WNBA because the NBA has just gotten so terrible with like not really playing any defense or anything like that, and I could kind of understand that. But
yeah, no, there's just certain players that I like to follow, and that's more the reason I like to like Sabrina Ionesco from New York Liberty. Like I love to follow her, like, and the whole Caitlin Clark thing. Like she's bringing the WNBA alive, so like that's interesting. So I really like to follow that. Do I watch every single game? No, dude, I don't pay for cable. That's too expensive. So like. But I do like to follow them. Like I mean, the only social media I have is really TikTok. So I watch a lot of TikToks, and it's my feed is usually pretty high on women's sports and food really, but like yeah, I do enjoy it. But like if I had to pick going to a New York Yankees baseball game or a women's basketball game, like I'm gonna pick baseball all day long. Like it's just what I've always preferred.
The WNBA is also a lot more competitive than it used to be. Like you would see all these compilations online of just airball after airball after airball. When now I feel like it's actually like a lot more competitive. At least it has these rising stars who are very dominant, and at least that is fun to watch. I don't know about the rest of them, honestly, but I mean, at least there's some people who are good enough to watch and have fun. Whereas, I mean,
But that's like Paige Beckers. Like you see all the stuff that she does for UConn and whatnot, and it's like, geez, dude, like yeah, I like to follow people like
Right.
that's awesome. But like, I mean, I used to watch it. Like, think about how competitive like men's sports used to be. Like that was back when you have like Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, like those types of athletes, and now like you have people who are I don't know more trying to sell shoes than anything else is sometimes what I feel like in the NBA, and it's just not great to watch. There are people that will argue and say the NBA is the best thing. Like they would rather watch that than like March Madness. And I disagree
Well,
because
those
I
people are
think March
stupid.
Madness is
Those
awesome.
people are
Like,
just stupid.
yeah, and I've heard people say that, and it's like, why do you say that? Like, the NBA is not interesting to watch at all.
No. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason teams are scoring like 160, 180 points in a single game without going to overtime, and it's
Well,
like
then those
it's
people will just say
crazy.
like, "Oh, they're just good shooters. They're really
Yeah.
good shooters." Like,
Yeah.
no, there's zero defense, dude.
Yeah.
Which I could understand if they had actual factual numbers to back it up. Like if the shooting percentages were like so much higher, if there were like people who actually shot 80% and they were just so much better than they used to be, but they're not.
No.
Like the shooting percentages aren't any higher. If not, they're worse. And that's because there's no defense. There's nobody guarding them. And there's more passes and there's more shots at the basket. I think is probably, if you looked at the numbers, what it would be. And for me, it's just like it's not really even enjoyable to watch. Even like when Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant were still playing, like Hack a Shaq, like there was still a lot of fouling going on, and it was pretty physical. And but what about this? Like you talked about not really having a big deal playing in men's sports, but what about when it came to basketball and you were playing with other boys, or like what would you have thought if you were wrestling?
Like, what do you mean? Like, as far as being uncomfortable and whatnot, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I for sure felt like I don't want to wrestle boys. Not really interested in that. Like that would have been very weird and uncomfortable for me. But I mean, there are girls that do it, and like more power to them. But they've probably also done it from like since a young age. So like for them, like that's all they knew. Just like for me, like baseball, it was what I knew, so it was no different for me, and it wasn't uncomfortable for me. But put me in a situation that I've never been in, and you want me to wrestle, and it's like, yeah, I'm probably not that interested in it.
But would you say from a standpoint of playing against boys and then playing it against girls, was it more gratifying to be able to beat boys, strike out boys, get hits
Yeah.
off of boys? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But that's the whole like anything you can do, I can do better. Like you're just trying to prove that, and then when you're playing with girls, like you're like, okay, we're all girls. Like it's not as fun.
And so, how would you feel? How do you feel about men being able to compete in women's sports?
I don't understand what the point of it is. I guess like every opportunity there is for a men's sport, they also have it in a women's sport. Like, I mean, people are like, well, they don't have volleyball. No, they do now. Like, that's a very popular thing. Like, I think even some high schools are letting there be boys volleyball. So if there's a boys basketball and a girls basketball, like, I just don't see the need for it, I guess. Men are built, like, it's obvious. Men and women are built different. Like, yes, men are stronger and whatever. Like, that's just, but women can be
Smarter
just
and
as strong as
cooler
them.
and
But, like, you know what I mean, though? Like, there's men are strong and whatnot, but women are strong in different aspects, I guess I would say. So I just don't think there's a need for men to play in women's sports.
But no, what about like if growing up, if little Johnny wanted to play softball versus baseball?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the same way as I didn't want to play softball and I wanted to play baseball. So, like, it's no different from that
Right.
aspect. If girls can play boys' sports, fine, let them play girls' sports, whatever. Like, to me, it's competitive side of me. I just don't see a need for it. Because when you talk,
Okay.
like, you're getting in high school and whatnot, you're talking about, okay, you guys are on the same team, like, you're sharing a locker room. That gets down a whole nother rabbit hole, I think.
All right, because that would be awkward.
Yeah, sharing a locker room with a boy, yeah, definitely would be.
I would say it would make for some uncomfortable scenarios at the very least.
Yeah, but back to you guys, like, proving points, like, you've seen, like, these high school teams beating, these NBA teams or WNBA teams and the soccer team and whatever, but, like, I've seen videos of, like, Jenny Fitch actually striking out, like, professional MLB players, and it's like, dude, you can't touch it. Like,
They weren't trying.
you guys think it is easier because it's a bigger ball, but it's like, okay, and she's only throwing 70 miles an hour. Oh, okay, like no big deal. But she's that much closer to home plate. And you just don't realize. So it's gonna
Well,
come at you.
I'm not saying that I was able to do it on the first try. I mean, but like professional baseball players, they've hit millions and millions of balls, but give them like 100 pitches and they'll be right on top of it, and like she won't be able to get anything past them. And like same with me, probably give me like 10 and she'll be done.
Yeah, 10 pitches and you can hit a rise ball.
Yeah, probably a home run.
Probably a triple decker too.
Yeah.
Probably.
Just out of the stadium.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to childhood. I think you had some memories of Josh and Isaac that they didn't remember.
Yeah, so there's a couple. So one of the main ones was, well, there's actually a couple. So we always like to take the tractors out. There was multiple times, and I think Jake was actually involved on one of them. Isaac was driving the bigger green tractor, and Jake and I were behind us, and Isaac backed into our or ran into the back of our the wagon because Jake was in the trailer, and then I think it ended up tipping us over, or was that he was driving and you and I were in the wagon and he tipped us out of the wagon? Do you
I don't remember that?
Oh yeah, it was down by like the old pool shed and whatnot, and I just remember Jake being, I mean, I couldn't imagine he was more than 3, but just tipping us out of the tractor, and I was like, Isaac, dude, what the heck are you doing? And just there went Jake and I tipping out of the trailer. And, like, we just always mess around with the tractors, and then so we obviously always stayed at Grandpa's house because I mean, who wouldn't for $5 a night? Like free money, cash cow.
Yeah.
But like we would also take the tractors out like on night rides. And so if you drove the yellow tractor, it not only had a foot brake, but it had a hand brake. So Josh would always drive and whatnot, and Craig, Isaac, and I would be in the wagon and we'd be going or whatever. And Craig never knew how to drive the tractors just because, like, I mean, he knew how to drive them, but he never really knew all the ins and outs of them. So the yellow tractor is what we would take, and we'd go out and they'd be yelling stupid things like, Mary, Mary, come get me, or whatever it is that you used to say in the mirror. And then they would freak out. Well, we'd be going, and Craig thought the only brake that you could use for that tractor was the hand brake. So Josh was like, oh, what the heck? They're messing with us, Craig. And he's like, what do you mean? And he's like, dude, the steering wheel is moving, and, like, they're messing with us. He's like, no, they're not. And he's like, yeah, they did. They just stopped the tractor, Craig. And Josh would, like, slam on the foot brake or whatever. And he's like, what the? Get back. Let's go back in the house. I'm like, this isn't, like, at night. Grandpa's sleeping. The 4 of us are out in the middle of the field riding the tractor around. And so Josh would keep doing it. And Josh was like, I can't go. He would just keep slamming on the brakes. And Kirk's freaking out. Josh would raise his hands up in the air like, dude, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. He's like, yes, you are, Josh. Yes, you are. So Josh would just keep slamming on the brakes. And, oh, man, he used to really scare the crap out of Craig sometimes. It was great.
And, like, what time was this?
It was literally like 10 o'clock at night, 10, 11 o'clock at night. And Grandpa would be passed out in the house. He would always tell us, like, you guys don't go out there. There's dogs and stuff out there, and they'll tear you up. Like, always try to scare the crap out of you so you wouldn't go outside at night. But yeah, we'd never listen. We'd come back in the house and he'd be passed out in the kitchen in the chair, and, like, just snoring. Oh, I was getting worried about you guys. Like,
yeah.
But some of the other ones, so I don't remember. Craig hated eggs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it was?
Yes.
And then every morning before school, we would go over there and have breakfast, and Chad would always be like, hey, Grandpa, like, can you make me some eggs? And then Craig would go in the kitchen bathroom and, like, dry heaving and whatnot, and Chad would just do it every single time. Just to gross him out.
Okay.
But I also remember, and I don't know how old I was. I was probably like 4 or 5 when I got that black and blue eye. Do you remember that? And then he saw me with his black and blue eye. And I was like, ooh. He always had a very weak stomach, so I was like, "Jeez, dude, you can't handle eggs or anything." Some of the other stories. So I guess I'll tell this one. I'm not sure it's appropriate, but I'll tell it anyways. So where the property sits, It's the cornfield and then the woods, and you're right next to Sweet Lake Road. And I don't know if
So
people
probably
used.
don't use the words that they said.
Okay. So there's druggies or whatever across the street, and we take the tractor up in the cornfield, and Josh was always driving, and then the three of us were in the cart, and they go up there and they just start yelling things at the people, and they make a song out of it or whatever. Well, the people started chasing us, so Josh gets on the tractor, drives the tractor home. We're like, screw that, dude, it's way too slow. So Craig, Isaac, and I all booked it down to the house, and there's Mom and Ron and Grandpa like, why'd you guys run? Why didn't you just run into the tractor, get in the tractor with Josh? And he's like, oh, no reason. We never told them that, but like, yeah, dude, we used to do so many things, and we never got in trouble for it.
And was this like in the middle of the day?
Yeah, that was like, I think Mom and Dad were getting ready to go home for work from work. So I think what they used to quit at like 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like grown men were like chasing you guys.
Yeah, they came up, but I mean, I never saw them actually come up. We just took Josh or Isaac, Craig, and I all took off and were like, "Yeah, Josh, you can ride the tractor by yourself. If you get caught, I guess it's you get caught. Like you started yelling it, so it's not our fault."
Huh.
But yeah, I remember. So one of the stories that Isaac told was, we always used to throw stuff out in the road, and that was also like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And so like when they had first freshly paved US 12, we had went and we had thrown a bunch of food and whatnot out there. And then the next morning we get up to see like if there's like a big old pile of food, and there wasn't a pile of food. There were like 2 or 3 dead raccoons just
Yeah.
laying out in the middle of US 12, and it was like, oh god. Yeah, it was like 4 of us unsupervised, but I mean, Grandpa claims he knew about stuff, but he was never going to tell on us, so we just got to do whatever we want and run the place, basically.
Yeah. Basically just a bunch of little kids running around doing whatever they want all the time with no
But yeah, and
repercussions.
the youngest one just always cursing, and like
Yeah.
he was the worst about
Yeah.
it, like cursing up a sailor, like, jeez, dude. And I remember him, like, so Isaac once. Man, it was after Mom and Dad went home and whatnot, and Isaac just goes out in the front yard of his house now and just starts taking a pee, like facing US 12. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, come on, everybody who drives by can see you, but he didn't have a care in the world, so yeah, he did whatever the heck he wanted.
It seems like that's kind of always how it was. It was somebody dared Isaac to do something, and Isaac said, "All right," and then just went and did it.
And then we were playing sports and whatnot, so like we'd go out, we'd play baseball. Well, then Josh and Craig would make Isaac mad. So then Isaac would come in, and he'd be sitting there on the regular Nintendo or whatever, and he'd be playing a game. And I'm like,
Oh
Isaac,
yeah.
come on, just come out and play with it. He's like, if you get me a bag of chips.
Yeah.
He eat his chips as slowly as he possibly could. He's like, oh yeah, and I need a Coke too. If you guys could get me a Coke. And then he'd drink his pop, but he'd take his sweet ass time. And it's like, dude, hurry up, let's go. Like, come on. But he would always do that stuff to kind of piss him off.
Because he knew that you guys needed him.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't just play with the 3 of us. We had to play all 4 of us.
Yeah. He abused that pretty hard.
Yeah, and when we used to play, like, if they were like, okay, well, fine, we'll switch teams. Like, it'll be me and Britt versus you and Craig, Isaac. And then those 2 would end up getting mad at Josh, and Craig would end up getting mad at each other. And then we'd end up quitting anyways. And it was almost like that's what Isaac wanted.
Yeah.
A team so we could piss them 2 off. And then they didn't want to play anyways. And they stopped asking. And Isaac could get back in to play either Mario or Donkey Kong on the Nintendo.
Because Craig was younger than Josh but older than you, or he was younger than you too.
I think he's only months younger than Josh. They're the same age. He was born in October. Josh was July. So yeah, they're not much, like, as far as age gap. But yeah, like, I was the chubby kid, so like I just always kind of like beat them up and whatnot. And I remember one time Craig maybe got boxing gloves, or maybe it was Josh. Josh got boxing gloves, and we took him to Grandpa's, and Craig just got braces.
Oh
Well, we
no.
ended up like punching each other. Craig gets hit in the mouth. His bracket on his braces got bent. Then he had to call his parents and tell them how his bracket on his braces got bent. Then he had to go to the orthodontist the next day.
Oh
And
man.
yeah, I remember that too.
I
But
didn't
yeah,
know about that.
Not a whole lot
yeah.
of thought went into that conversation, huh? Hey man, let's
No,
box.
I
Oh, I
mean,
just
I
got my
wasn't gonna get
braces.
hit in the face with punching. I think it was either Josh or Isaac that was fighting Craig. It was probably Isaac because Isaac really had a temper problem,
Mm.
so it kind of still does. But yeah,
Well, speaking of temper problems, there was somebody who put rollerblades through like a wood door. Like, why don't you tell everybody that story?
uh, yeah. So that was at the log cabin. So we were out, and Isaac never roller skated because Isaac didn't know how to roller skate and never wanted to learn how to roller skate. But it was Josh, me, and I think Dawn, the neighbor girl. She was in there, and we were all roller skating around. Well, they decided it would be funny to like hurry up and run in the house and then lock me in the garage by myself because Dawn went in as well. So I was like banging on the door, let me in, guys. Like, come on, it's not funny. And they wouldn't let me in. So I took my rollerblade and I kicked through mom and dad like really nice door from the garage to the house. And they were like, holy crap, Brittany, you just kicked all the way through the door. And I was like, no, I didn't. And they're like, yeah, I did. And they're like, here's the piece of wood. Like, they held it up. So, like, we tried to just put it back in and, like, hope they would never notice. And I don't even remember how they were found out. I don't know if it was we were going to dinner and they saw it, or I really don't remember how they
How
found
would they
out.
not?
What do you mean? How they found out? Like, there was a whole piece of the door missing, Brittany.
Yeah, it was like this
It
long.
was a slice like this long and like this wide, and it went through the whole thing. And you guys did like it was like one of the doors. I think it was a little bit hollow in the middle, so you guys put it from the outside, but from the inside, you could pretty much see that it was like completely cut out. Like, what do you
Yeah,
mean?
I remember doing it, but I don't even know that I got really in trouble for that.
Yeah,
I don't remember. Like,
your guys'
if I did, I
craftsmanship
probably just
probably
got
wasn't
scolded.
top tier.
What?
You super glue and just put it right back in. I said your
Yeah, so
craftsmanship
just as
probably
in your
wasn't.
guys' quarterback club of
Yeah.
gluing
Nobody
back
ever
the.
found out.
They
Nobody
did.
ever found out. No,
Yeah, they did.
no, because
They
Ashley
did. And
told
she
them.
was. Yeah,
Yeah, that doesn't count.
it still counts, dude.
Well, Ashley watched it happen.
Was brokenhearted.
Yeah, a little rat.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like the eraser hole that was in mom and dad, like the
yeah.
house in Merrity for forever. It's like
Yep.
nobody ever found that out until they moved out.
Yeah.
The what?
Nah, when Isaac was slingshotting a eraser through the wall, he told that
Yeah,
story when he was over
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Yeah.
and mom had snowmen like everywhere, so you just hang a
Hmm.
snowman over it, and nobody will ever see it.
Yeah. She miraculously never moved that one though. She always moved every single one, but never that one.
Well, she had to change them for the seasons, but didn't want
Yeah.
to piss with the ones on the wall, so she
Yeah.
said, I'll just leave that.
Yeah.
That one's an every season kind of snowman.
Yeah. Seems like they all are.
Yeah, they're still up
Actually,
now.
speaking of,
Hmm.
the neighbors that had their tree up in early October, their blinds are currently shut. So I don't know if they still have their tree up, but I think I remember you telling you it was still up in March, right? It was like,
Yeah.
holy
A
cow.
couple weeks ago, yeah.
Jeez. I think Natalie actually still has her Christmas tree up in the basement.
I'm sure she appreciates you sharing that with all of the YouTube followers.
She doesn't care. She likes it. It brings her joy.
Yeah.
Well, there's a house out on Klinger Lake that like goes very, very hard decorating their house with lights and puts stuff on the roof and decorates their whole entire yard. And they have a sign in the front of their yard that says "Listen to the lights," and it's got
Yeah,
like a
that's
radio
actually
station. Yeah.
it's one of the Hernandez's. Oh man, what is his name? It's one of the Altz's.
Yeah,
If you
but
want the
those lights are
Hernandez
still
girls
up.
yeah.
It seems like those lights
Their
never
lights
go
are still
down.
up?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah, and it's not just their house; it's their entire property. It's
Yeah.
covered.
And people stop and they'll turn it to whatever radio station they have it set to, because I think they have their own radio station. And people stop and sit there and watch the show for 20 minutes. I mean, we did it once.
Huh.
Wait, though, like if you were to go by there tonight, the Christmas lights are still on, playing this song.
Oh, that I
No.
don't know.
They're not still on. I don't think they're plugged in, but they're there. They're just set up.
Well, I don't think they
Oh,
actually
okay,
live
okay.
there. I think that's just like a
Oh.
house that they decorate and they leave. Like, I think they live, so I would assume they live somewhere else.
Yeah, I would
Otherwise,
hope
that
so.
would be awkward. And,
Yeah.
mow around that much crap is what I don't get.
They
like,
don't.
Yeah, I guess. Whatever.
Yeah. Something,
You have any more questions, Jake?
not any more questions, but it was just something that, I don't know. Something that I've learned through podcasts is ever since Dad passed away, I feel like I've learned a lot more holistic ways of, how do I word this? It's like not natural, just like going to the hospital, getting medicated, things like that, but more so the holistic route of getting better. And I don't know, I always hear all these podcasts and all of these articles about stuff about making your body better, and just it kind of just infuriates me with the healthcare system and the way that it is. And it makes me think of Dad every time, because it's like the lack of knowledge, and not to anyone's fault, but just not knowing anything about the healthcare system really. And it's just getting medicated and looking back at it and seeing if that was the potential reason for the deterioration of him so fast. And then you look back at this, and I don't know, it just makes me really upset hearing all of this stuff. Not necessarily because it's an option, but just they can't prescribe these holistic ways to get better without taking all of these medications and doing all of these surgeries. And it's never another option. It's always you get medicated, you get surgery if it's needed, and that's pretty much it. And I don't know if you guys are the same way, but I don't know, I just look back at it and it's like, man.
Well, Dad actually tried like a lot of holistic approaches, like
Oh.
early on. So there was a place in Shipshawana called Northern Nutrition where he went and he was like doing a lot of his holistic approaches. And I don't remember actually when the first time he ever really went to a doctor was and got like prednisone or
I see.
decided that he was just going to go a different path. I will say this is that Dad tried a lot of things, but there's some things that he never was really willing to give up. And one was Coke and cigs.
Yeah.
And so there's a couple of things that like are inhibitors when you're trying to like get natural and get better,
Right.
that work against, kind of like toxins against the body. So like you're putting a bunch of good in, but you're also putting like a bunch of bad in and stuff.
That's true.
So it was like,
He would if he was here today, he would tell you he quit smoking. But e-cigs are no
Yeah.
better than smoking. They're actually like worse for you. So it's like I'd rather you smoke the cigarette than smoking like vape an e-cig or whatever you want to call it. Like those are no better for you.
Yeah. I don't know. It's
and he
just,
wasn't like doing these things in low quality quantities either.
No,
it was
yeah.
always up to the max. So like I remember people used to say when I was pitching that he would go through like a pack of cigarettes, like the game and stuff. I'm like, oh crap! Like,
yeah.
Well, and I think that's why he always stood like for my games, he always stood like out in right field or something, so that he was away from everybody else, so that he could smoke. Because otherwise, you go up by everybody else, and they're just going to complain about it. So I think that's why he was always out in right field.
Yeah, that makes sense.
but I think inside of that, like as we grow as adults and we continue to learn about our mind and maybe our role beliefs or maybe childhood beliefs or traumas, I think that like some of the things that happened to Dad, some very stressful moments in life, like kind of losing the house and those types of things, I think a lot of those things were working against him, and maybe just like the amount how well you can heal inside of that. Like it's just difficult. Like when you get to a bad mental spot or you've lost some things, I think it can be really difficult to try to feed your body with good nutrition. Maybe some people I think it call it as good energy, but our mind and I think our stress can really make it really difficult to feel better and just add to disease, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, stress just wears on your body, and when your body's already weak, it doesn't help you heal any faster. So,
Yeah.
or heal at all, really.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But you love to watch YouTube videos.
About the Earth being flat, and
Every
maybe that's
conspiracy
where
theory
Jake
under
got
the
it from.
sun.
Like, I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't know where I became a conspiracy theorist.
Well, what was the? He was used to watch something about monkeys too, wasn't it?
I don't know that one.
I don't know about that.
Maybe it was him and Nick that always watched it and always talk about, man, them. If you could put Nick and Dad in a room, they could talk about conspiracy
Yeah,
theories for forever. I felt like
yeah,
that or Donald Trump.
yeah. He did love
So
Trump.
it's interesting to me that like in early childhood and as you grew up, like you talked about being a tomboy, but now it seems like you're more, I don't know, more sentimental and more like motherly nature. Like so, right, we have a niece now, and so it seems like you really enjoyed like that motherly figure, the mother approach to like Emily. Like, where do you think that came from?
Uh, Actually, not sure. So, like, I've always told people are like, well, why don't you have kids? Well, backstory: Kevin is 19 years older than me, so probably just not gonna happen unless things get reversed. But that's okay. I've always told people like I think would be a better mother to other people's kids than I would myself, and I think that's just a confidence thing. I don't think that's actually true. Like I think I would be a great mother, and like so I have three stepsons, and I do think I'm great for them. But I just think it's like it's always been like, hey, I'm a better mother to other people's kids. So like, yes, those are technically someone else's kids. They're not my blood, but like I feel like I've just been so good to them. And then Emily, it's like I just want to mother her. Like it's my first niece. Like it's awesome to have somebody be like run up to your house, hey Aunt B, like being called Aunt B is probably like the greatest thing in the world to me. Like I absolutely love it. And like in the summer, like 2:30 is gonna hit, and Emily's gonna be standing up here at my pool, like, "Hey, you ready to go swimming?" And it's like, I gotta mow first, and then we can get in the pool. But I don't know. I just enjoy that so much. I always wanted to go into education just because I enjoy kids. It's like I wanted to go into education. I coached there for really quite some time, and I absolutely enjoyed it. But it's just always I've just always had the motherly love. But I almost don't know. I'm not saying that like mom wasn't around, but like for sports and whatnot, mom was always working. So like
Mm.
I never had that. So they signed Emily up for T-ball. So it's like, okay, like I will not miss a game. Like if you want, I'll take her to practices. Like I want Em to have it. And I know she'll have that with her parents too, but it's like I want to make sure that she has that. I want to guarantee that she feels that love that maybe like my love language was like that's how I dealt with it. I played sports and that's what I loved. So like people showing up for me and
Mm.
supporting me was like a big huge thing for me. So like I want to make sure that maybe something that I didn't feel as much. I'm not saying that I wasn't loved because mom and dad loved me and like no questions about it, but I think people just show it in a different way and I want to make sure like that something I missed out on she gets to feel, and like I want to make sure that like she definitely feels that love and like knows like there's no question about like
Hmm.
whether Emily's aunts and uncles love her or not. Like she is going to for sure know that every single one of us loves her, and I think that's just important to me.
Hmm.
And what about, do you have a limit for the amount of hours that you can put up with Emily? Like, if she was your daughter, do you think it would just be like overwhelming, or would be like, okay, this is really tough?
Dude, I she like most days like it used to be every single day I'd be taking, so I take people home from work, And Emily would be calling me and trying to FaceTime, and I'm like, I'll call you back later. So she would FaceTime me every day on the way home. B, are you home yet? Like, come on. Like, so I would get home at 2:30, and I would either have to stop and pick her up, or her mom would drive her up here. And then she's here till probably dinner time, so 5:30, 6 o'clock, and it's like, that's no different than if she was my own, then I would just feed her at 6 o'clock, and then, you know what I mean? Then shower and go to bed. So, like, I don't think I would get tired of it. I mean, maybe sometimes, like, I've always said, hey, we're in like the vacation stage, like since the boys are older and like they're moving out. So it's like, do I really want that? No, absolutely not. Because like I want to go vacation places and yeah, just do things I love and enjoy. So like I like being an aunt, but I don't want to be a mom at this point in my life. Like I don't want to be like a new like young baby. Like no, I don't want a 4-year-old to stay at my house every night.
Not every night.
No.
And what about if she was like a month? Would you be able to take care of her like consistently if she was not able to talk back and forth with you and you weren't able to play with her or anything like that?
I know. She's in her best stage right now where she can do things and talk and have a conversation with you. It's every time I see her, like, I just feel like she talks so much better than she did the day before. And yeah, she just learns so quickly. But yeah, like her, yeah. But do I want her to stay every night? No. I'm good.
So you're just taking advantage of the best of Emily that you can get.
Well, are we supposed to do something? I mean, she takes advantage of me and Kevin, so it's fine. And she doesn't know any better, but yeah.
No, I was just joking.
Yeah.
Because when would you say your relationship with her started to develop?
Oh, actually, when she was in the baby stage, I was probably a year. Like, because Isaac and Mary had horses and whatnot. So she in the winter, Mary would just drop her off here, so I would watch Emily and we would hang out. And I mean, even when Jake, how old was she when you stayed at our house, Jake? How long when she lived with us?
Probably no more than 2.
Yeah, so I would say that 1-2 age, like, yeah, that's probably when that started to develop with her. But she could walk around and do things, and like we pick on Kevin, and that is usually our main thing, and that's what we do. And now she's 4, and she rules the roost when it's just her and Kevin.
Except when Kevin yells at her and she gets all pouty and sad.
Yeah, he makes her sad sometimes. And then she'll go home and she'll say, Kevin was grumpy. Like, I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, if you lived next to her, wouldn't you do the same? Like, or you think no?
Yeah, no, I would, but I would be able to just like have a kid like that nonstop. Like I wouldn't need, I could have a little baby.
Yeah, I mean, I've been around the boys. So Dylan and Dominic were probably 5. So they're 5 and they're gonna be 21 this year. So I've lived all of that stages. So do I want another kid right now? No. Like I think I've lived all those stages and I've had my fill, and now I just get to be an aunt. I just get to do the fun things. I don't have to like yell at her and punish her. Like I've already done all that, and like now the boys and I are at a stage where it's like we can be friends. Like I don't have to tell you that you have to go to work. I don't have to tell you to do your homework. I don't have to tell you to stop getting in trouble at school. Like I don't have to tell you all those things. It's like I just get to do all the fun things with Emily. Emily comes over, she gets her fruit by the foot or her fruit roll up, and then she eats all of Kevin's fruit snacks, and then we play games, and then she goes home. So I sugar her up and send her home.
And what about like misbehaving?
She knows. Like when she's up here, she actually listens pretty well. Sometimes she'll like if she hasn't had a nap or she's having a bad day. You can tell, but usually I'm like, Emily, if you don't knock it off, you're gonna have to go home. And then she usually straightens up for the most part. I don't normally have too many issues really with her. But I also keep her busy when she's here. Like we have like Legos and things like I've never seen a 4-year-old who can just look at a Lego book and just start putting the Legos together. Like she's very smart. So if I keep her occupied and busy and that's what she wants, and like I'm not occupied on my phone and I'm paying attention to her, like that's what she loves.
So she can just put Legos together all by herself.
Yeah, so there, I mean, we bought her, I don't remember if that's when we were in New York, but we found a Lego piece that was like 800 pieces, and they come with these little books and they tell you what to build. So you turn it to her, and then you just tell her, like, grab the pieces. These are the pieces you got to grab. And she'll find all the pieces, and then she'll just look at the book and start putting it together like she's supposed to.
And like, what's the age for that Lego supposed to be?
Oh, I think it's like 4 and up, just because I think that's like everything now, because like you don't want them putting them in their mouth and stuff like that. So I think
Oh,
it's
okay. So it was for her age group.
Yeah, they're nothing like one of them is building a pencil, and you just have this like it's like a little log like this, and then you just have to put the colors on top, and then you have to put the pen part on top. So it's nothing that's like extravagant, but it's still like for a 4-year-old to be able to look it out, find all those pieces, like that's still pretty good, like to be able to do something like that.
Yeah. Do you have anything else?
I'm thinking. Who's your favorite sibling?
Ashley and Natalie are my favorite sisters.
That's not what he said.
I
Oh,
don't.
Josh and Isaac aren't your favorite sisters?
Well, sometimes they act like sisters.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
Oh boy.
I don't pick favorites. I don't have them.
Oh, you
Who's
don't?
your favorite sibling?
Huh?
Who's your favorite sibling?
Who's my favorite sibling?
Yeah.
Jake.
Hey, on this podcast is done. See you guys later. So should we make Jake answer and see if his is yours?
No. We'll probably quit the podcast if it's not.
Well.
Oh, one of the things at the end of the episode, we always ask the guests to share is there a memory of dad that you have?
Yeah, so I actually have 2 of them. Both of them had to do with baseball. So when they were redoing the baseball fields at Wall School, we actually had to go play baseball out at Spence Field, which used to be out by Abbott. So we were playing baseball out there, and we were playing Scott Miller's Sportsorama team. So I was up to bat, and they decided just to walk me, and Dad from the outfield yells, "You just walked a girl, you pussy!" Dad, talk to Dad, like, hey, you can't say that, and he just walked a girl, what a pussy, and like, it's like, geez, Dad, like, it's kind of embarrassing. It's like, oh, whatever, he deserved. But like,
Yeah.
so yeah, there's that one, and then the other one that was also a classic was the year Isaac and I think it was the only year Isaac played baseball, but the year we both made all-stars. We were on the way to practice, and we were in Dad's truck, and Dad, classic, never wore his seatbelt. So we're at the stoplight of Centerville and Fawn River. Well, there was a cop sitting there. So we ended up getting pulled over, and Dad quickly does his little maneuver where he just kind of like slides in, puts his seatbelt on. He's like, you know why I pulled you over? And he's like, no, I don't. And he's like, well, you weren't wearing your seatbelt. And he's like, yeah, I am. I'm wearing my seatbelt. Like, I've had it on the whole time. And he's like, no, you didn't. So he ended up giving Dad a ticket. And so from the rest of the way, this is when we were still out at Spence Field. So we're going to practice. Dad the whole way there is like, hey, so like I'm gonna fight this ticket, and you guys are probably gonna have to go to court. You're probably gonna have to fight it with me. And the look on Isaac's face was like, I'm not going to court. And so we get out and we go to practice, and Isaac and I are walking up, and he goes, I'm not fucking going to court. I'm not going. And it's like, geez, dude, like he was just kidding. So I got home, and after we got home, and I told Dad, and Dad just started laughing. It's like, we're not really gonna have to go to court for Dad not wearing a seatbelt. Like, just relax. But now, like, Isaac would do the same thing. Isaac would tell Emily some kind of story, but it's like, it's funny how he got so scared about something like that, but it's like, geez, but yeah, Dad had him all riled up about that. I was like,
That is crazy to think
Yeah, I
about.
can just imagine you like, I'm not doing that. Like, no, hell no.
Yeah.
that's exactly what he did when he got out of the truck to go to practice. It's like, Isaac, dude, he was kidding. You don't have to go to court. He's like, he said we do, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm not even going, dude. Just calm down, whatever. Like, who cares?
It is crazy to think about back then that they would pull you over for not wearing your seatbelt though, and actually giving you a
Yeah, now
ticket
you
for
can
it.
just,
And now, dude, you can
yeah.
do your makeup, drive with your feet while you're eating food. It's like they don't care unless you're going
No.
15, 20 miles over the speed limit. It's like they're not getting pulled over. It's
Yeah, and you know how
Wait,
many people I see with they're on their phone. It's
oh
like,
yeah,
okay, like, yeah,
yeah,
whatever. Like, just text and drive away, and nobody ever gets pulled over. It's like, oh my gosh.
yeah,
well, you still get a ticket for not wearing your seatbelt.
yeah. But dude, nobody pulls you over for not wearing a
You?
seatbelt.
Well, you don't have to wear them if
What?
you're in the back seat. I don't think.
Well, okay, I guess that's one of the things that seems like if you're going through town or anything that they're like looking for to make sure you're wearing a seatbelt.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like to me.
Mm.
Not to you guys, huh?
I just feel like that's not really a thing anymore.
No, like my rider's in my car, and it's like, are you guys gonna buckle up? And they're like, no, it'll be fine. I'm like, okay, whatever. Like,
Yeah,
your life, I guess if you want to risk it, that's fine, because I'm
yeah.
driving, but whatever. So I always put mine on, but some of them
Well,
don't put theirs on.
well, wouldn't you be the one that gets the ticket if you get pulled over for people not wearing their ticket or their seatbelts?
Yeah, I would assume I would. I've never gotten pulled over for
Yeah.
it, not yet.
Well, but Brittany, you drive a horse and buggy to work, don't you? So you don't have to wear a seatbelt, I didn't think.
Yeah.
No, lucky. I would have to leave even earlier than what I already do if I did that. But I do take that.
Oh yeah, but what time do you wake up in the morning?
My alarm usually goes off at 3:05.
And what time do you go to bed?
9 o'clock or so, probably.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
Wow.
if I go to bed like at 7:30, I've tried going to bed at like 7:30, 8 o'clock, but it's like it's almost like I get too much sleep and then I'm so exhausted. I function better on like from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Like I'm good. That's when I like am the best and I'm not tired. Is when I go to bed at 9 and I get up at 3.
Do you take naps?
No, I don't have time to take a nap, dude. And as soon as I get home, it's like Emily's here, so there's no time for a nap.
Because you literally work like what, 20 hours a week?
No, I work from 4 to 1:30 every day,
Which is
in about 9 hours a day.
oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't get. Yeah, I'm not. I just because I work on the line doesn't mean I go home at 11:30 like they do every day. Yeah, I don't do that.
You're not one of the fortunate few.
No, I used to do that, but you can't do that for the rest of your life. It's not something you can do for the rest of your life. Your body just can't handle all that wear and tear up and out of units, and yeah, it's not.
Josh is gonna prove you wrong.
Josh doesn't hop in and out of a unit. He works for a side department, and all he does is cut like steel or not steel, but metal for sidewalls and stuff. So Josh doesn't hop in and out of units. Josh just builds the walls.
Oh, okay. What?
Nothing. Anything else you want to ask?
All
Brittany?
right. No, I think those were all my questions. Since neither one of us are her favorite sibling, I guess it's just kind of like a little sad. We should probably just
Yeah.
You
have
weren't
to end the
mine
podcast.
yours either, so why is it such a big deal that you aren't mine?
What?
I didn't even say who was my favorite, so how do you know that neither one of you are my favorite?
Well, if it was one of us, you probably would have said so.
Well, do you
Yeah.
think I want to offend Chad if I tell him it's you, Jake? And Jake, Chad, do you think I want to tell it's you and offend Jake?
That wouldn't offend me.
Well, neither one of us are known to like get super offended about stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you wouldn't.
I don't.
Your face says otherwise.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
I don't get offended.
I wouldn't get offended. So go ahead, let us know.
Isaac. So you both can be
Figures.
offended.
I'm not offended. Just a little hurt.
I'm not surprised. Teeny weeny weeny bit. I don't know. Will we post this episode, Jake, or not?
Yeah. Yeah. We just might as well just cut it now.
It's fine.
Maybe we can delete episode. What one was Isaac?
Yeah, that was. I don't know.
It's one of your first guests, wasn't he?
Yeah. It had to
Yeah,
have
we can
been
remember that one.
13 or 14. Yeah. Yeah, take that
Take
one
that
down
out.
too. Yeah.
So you didn't do a podcast that week either, just delete it out of your memory?
Yeah. Well.
I think I could have sworn Jake had like their sibling on the podcast.
Yeah.
For up people.
Yeah.
So, well, when you have Natalie and Ashley on, just make sure, like, if you ever have them on, you ask them who their favorite sibling is, too. I guess I'll see if you ever post their episode or not.
Oh, we will.
Yeah, we didn't ask. We didn't
Was
ask
there anything
Isaac
you
or
wanted
not.
to? No. Was there anything you wanted to add, Brittany? Anything else you wanted to talk about?
Not that I can really think of. One thing I wanted to say, like, I am super proud of both of you, like, for reaching for the stars and doing this podcast, and you're so dumb. No. No, but I am super proud of you guys. Like, you went on a search for something and you started something, and you guys have really excelled at this. And like, I've listened to every episode. I've listened to every Monte's Gems. I've listened to every Bible one that you guys have done. Like, and I have thoroughly enjoyed all of them. I think I have learned so much about the both of you that it's amazing. Like, and there's so many stories. Like, Josh, Isaac, and I have all been on this podcast, and like, we all have different stories, and there's just so many stories. But there's also stories from like both of you that I've never heard, and it's just great to hear, and it just keeps Dad's memory alive. And it's been 2 years, so it's just been great, and I love it, and I love that you guys are carrying him on, and I think this is a great way to do it. And like I said, I'm super proud of the both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
The thing is that's interesting, like when it comes to like the middle siblings, like me, Josh, Isaac, and Brittany, like I didn't spend a lot of like one-on-one time with you, and I guess Ashley either. Like the person that I had the most one-on-one time was Jake. So like I have the most stories with Jake, unless it was like me, Jake, Josh, and Isaac. Like I remember the time where we were going to the toll road and there was that old guy in front of us and he couldn't figure out how to work the machine.
Yeah.
And Josh is talking with them and he turns around and he's like, "Hey, shut up." And then he goes back and he starts going again and he goes, "So what the?"
Yeah.
And he was actually just saying like what the F to himself, but he just like turned
Yeah.
around and like
Yeah.
to us and stuff.
Just so
Or we're just
flustered.
like busted up because he just could not get the money to go in, and
Yeah.
there was a line going up, and we were honking.
Yeah. Yeah. Good times.
But I mean, yeah, you, Josh, and Isaac have all those memories and stories where it's just like I didn't know half of this stuff like was going on, and I'm just like, yeah, like it's just like, yeah, Grandpa was pretty much non-existent. There was no adult figure really watching you guys at all, like. And it's like nobody really got harmed in the making of you three children.
Like, hey, do you think if
pretty impressive.
Mom and Dad, or if Ron and Ruby ever would have known that any of us were doing, like, do you think we ever would have been allowed back to Grandpa's house? Like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Well, do you think Grandpa knew half of the things you guys were doing?
know. I think he played dumb to a lot, but like the guy also took us to M&T Par 3 and just dropped us off and let us play 18 holes on our own and just left us. Like he had to know we weren't innocent.
Yeah.
Like the four of us together
Well,
also
no,
close.
no, but no kids are innocent. I mean, there was a lot of parents that would do that, but like it was like, to what extent are my kids going to get in trouble? Like, oh, okay, are like, okay, they're going to be outside. They're going to maybe, you know, do some things, but are they going to like throw food in the middle of the road? Are they going to do like, to what extent are they going to do dangerous things? Like, it's like, okay, I didn't realize it was that. Oh, is my 12-year-old grandson going to be driving a car up and down the highway at 100 miles an hour? Like, no, he didn't know. Okay, maybe he goes out on the road and drives it down the drive, maybe 100 yards. Okay, yeah, well, should he have done that? No. But like, it's
Yeah.
like to the extent of things were done, I'm just like, holy cow, dude. Like, even in my mind, I'm just like trying to think, like, there's no way I would have had the guts to even go do something like that. Like, I was just like too scared, essentially, not just of getting in trouble, but like also for my own livelihood. It was just like what if somebody were to hit me? Like, I didn't feel like I had enough control of a car to go
Yeah.
do it. I was just like scared of something happening. Like, you're throwing stuff in the middle of the road and then a semi sees you and he swerves and he hits. Like, it's just like I thought about all of these things like would have happening where I would have been like, I'm not doing that. Like, that's stupid, guys. Let's
Yeah.
not do that.
The only thing I think I ever got terrified was when Isaac actually took me out on the road, and I didn't know he did it. Ron had said he did it, and I was like, oh, I never rode in a car. I had my own car, so Isaac was in his car doing his thing. I mean, Grandpa had 2, 3 cars, and he just let us drive around the yard. So like, he had his own thing, and then when we got out on the road, I was like, oh crap, like he actually does do it. And I know Isaac has a lead foot, so like he is 100 miles an hour all the time. Then when we hit that bird, I was like, oh no, like we can turn around and go back now. Like, come on, dude, let's turn around and go back. You just killed that bird.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. Like, no worries. Like, that was just Isaac though. Like, he didn't worry about things. Like Daredevil, like do anything you told him to do.
I mean, did you ever at any of those points in times feel like your life was in danger or like threatened?
Just when we
Like
went
when you
out.
guys were like, you guys were risking it a little too far. It's like, okay, guys, like we should like let's just slow down a little bit. Like, we should not be doing this.
No, I actually don't think so. Like the only time I ever got worried was literally. I mean, dude, we were throwing that stuff in the road like at 11 o'clock at night, and we would just go hide around behind the swing set. Nobody could ever see us that we thought, or that we knew of, anyways. But
Yeah, but Josh told a story where you guys would go get in Grandpa's station wagon, and you and Isaac would get in the back, and you would shut the door, but you wouldn't shut the window that came from the top down completely, and you would take stuff and you would drop stuff out in the road to cars behind you, and it was never like you guys really never thought about like how that would affect the cars behind you or anything like that, or scratching a car or anything like that. It was just like
we
you
just
just
thought it
didn't
was
care.
funny. Yeah, no, we just thought it was funny. We just did it. Like every time Isaac, it used to be because he had like those two little like side triangle windows. Like we used to just open those and just throw stuff out those. But then when Grandpa had that big old roll of string in the kitchen, it's like, okay, let's tie some stuff around the string, just throw it out the window, and let it drag behind the car. So I never really worried about it, but I mean, dude, we also like rode in the back of Dad's truck with no cab on and whatnot. So I didn't really think it was much difference other than we weren't throwing stuff outside of Dad's truck. And
Oh yeah, that's it. We just weren't throwing stuff out behind it, cars behind the cars. Like, yeah, that's it. It was just the same thing, except for the things that were going out, the objects that could have scratched cars and hurt cars. Other than that, it was pretty much the same.
I don't think we ever threw anything big enough to like damage a car, though.
I know, but you're like little kids. It's just like you think little kids would have some type of fear. Like, you guys literally had like no fear. It was just like fearless. It was just like, oh yeah, whatever. Like, I was like,
Well, didn't Jake say him and Sam threw stuff? Like, clearly he didn't have any fear either.
Well, I mean, yeah, when you're a little kid and you do something once and you're like, "Oh, that was pretty cool," and then you want to keep repeating it, and then it's like you don't notice the possible repercussions until that happens. Like I remember Sam and I would go out to that warehouse his dad was working on, and we would take like tennis rackets and we would hit rocks like at the road. And one time I hit a car, and then Sam got in trouble for it. Yeah, it dented a car, and he got in trouble for it, and he had to pay for it. Yeah. Yeah.
Like a car that drove by, or
Yeah.
that was there?
It was a car that drove by.
And you didn't have to pay for it?
No, Sam did. They made Sam do it.
Even though they knew it was you?
I don't know if they knew it was me. I don't know.
Oh, I thought they had found out that it was you. Maybe it was just Sam that was telling us it was you. Well, it's
Maybe.
kind of like the same story, like when Jessica used to babysit us, and she babysat us at the log cabin. Well, we were out there and trying to teach her how to hit a golf ball with a golf club or whatever, and she's up. Isaac hit one up to the Middletons, or she did, and then we got up to the Middletons and we saw like, oh my God, I think you just hit the golf ball through their window. Well, little did we know, like, Isaac had done it like 3 days ago, and then we got grounded because they thought we hit it through their window and just never told them. But Isaac was the reason. The first time and only time we ever got grounded was because of Isaac and that golf ball. Literally the only time we ever got in trouble.
Wait, so yeah, at what point did you guys find out that it was Isaac, though?
Oh, he didn't tell us until.
Oh yeah, it
like,
was
we were
recently,
older.
I thought.
Yeah,
Like a couple
he didn't
years
tell us
ago?
until we were older.
So Isaac kept that hidden, and then it was a perfect, essentially, cop out for him to blame it on our cousin,
Yeah.
and everybody got in trouble when he had done it 2 days later, and he had to have been just like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome that she hit it up there.
Yeah.
Now it looks like she hit it, and I'm completely off the hook. Because like, how did the neighbors find out?
I don't remember if it was Glenn or Steven that went down in the basement and had saw the golf ball like sitting up in the little window, because it's just like one of those little glass windows, but I think it was double pane. It broke through the first part, but it hadn't broke through the actual house, so it was the golf ball was just sitting in the window, and then they just saw it when they went downstairs.
Luckily, she didn't find the ball that she actually hit, and was like, "Wait a minute, what? if I hit
Isaac
this
was
one?"
up there before we were. Like Isaac would always hurry up and just get up there to see where she hit it and show us. Like we didn't really care.
So he picked it up.
Yeah.
Oh.
He got there like, well, I got this ball and dropped it, and we'll hit it back towards the log cabin. Yeah, that was the only time we ever got grounded for like any of the things we've ever done.
How long did you get grounded for?
I don't even know. No, it was a couple days. It was supposed to be a week, but I don't think it was a week. Like we couldn't, we weren't allowed to go out to Grandpa's after school, and then we weren't allowed to have Dawn, the neighbor, hold down, because she would always come down. So there were 4 of us, so we could play whatever sport we wanted to play. So yeah, it was just a couple days, I think.
I mean, were there any stories from the log cabin that you didn't share?
Oh, probably the one where we broke the bed that great grandpa built, or was it Grandma Shipsy's husband built? Mom, it was his bed. Okay. So up in your guys' room, it would be yours, Josh, and Isaac's. Was that big long space, open area? Well, we would always play football, so we were up there playing football in the house, and I had got to that bed, and I think Isaac was sleeping at that bed at that point. And I had gotten on the bed, and I had laid there with the football. Well, then both of them, Isaac and Josh, thought it was a good idea to jump on top of me and break Mom's bed. And then we tried to hide it for the longest time until she cleaned and changed the sheets and realized that the bed was broken. And we got in trouble for that, too. But we never got grounded or anything.
Didn't you guys try to blame that on somebody else, too? Like it was Dawn or something?
That I don't remember. I just remember breaking it.
Yeah, because they always like to try to blame stuff on other people, where Mom and Dad thought like everybody that would come to our house would just tear up the house, and it was actually these 3 that were actually doing it. And then it was just like, oh, somebody's here now, we can go break stuff, guys, because we got somebody who we can go blame it on.
I mean, we all did it. You guys hid stuff too. It's not like it was just us three.
Yeah.
I never hit anything.
Yeah, except for what we were talking about earlier.
Quarterback club. It's just
Never
like we never
broke any
threw
of that
ball
stuff.
in
It
the
was always
house. We were
good.
never supposed to throw
Yeah.
a ball in the house. We always threw ball in the house. We always played ball tag or whatever we could. We just pick up a ball and start chucking it.
Yeah.
And if it broke something, it broke something. And it's not like Mom has enough knickknacks. It's not like she was gonna notice if the one knickknack was gone.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. It was a very cluttered house. We had a lot of things that we could break.
Yeah, very expendable.
Nobody
And we took full advantage of that.
Yeah. If it was too broken to repair, then
Actually,
we just
I'm
throw
really
it away.
surprised with all the things like the TVs and stuff that we actually never broke a TV, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I think the big one in the living room, that huge big screen TV, I think that one got hit a couple times, but I don't think we ever.
Well, that's the thing. Like I think it did get hit, and I'm just like just to have the screen break or crack like that, because we would have gotten in big trouble. That was a very expensive TV at the time,
Yeah.
like one of the biggest big screens that you could get. And yeah, I know that ball hit that TV a couple of times, and I was like, oh no. I was like, oh, phew. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
You guys played quarterback club right in front of it. And I was
Yeah.
like, dude, you guys got so lucky that you never broke that thing.
Yeah.
But also, it was like if it got hit, we just turn the TV on, see if it works. It was fine. Turn it back
Yeah.
off. Put it back at it. Who cares? Just
Yeah.
don't hit it again.
Yeah, go ahead.
But also, like, one of the memories too was always like driving Dad's scooter around the house.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Dad would get blamed for banging up the wall, but it was really
Yeah.
Chad because he was trying to go so quick, and he'd drag
Yeah.
the scooter all the way down the one wall. And then Mom would be like, "You're scratching up the walls." And it's like, yeah, you just let Dad take the wrath for that.
Well, it's not like Dad never made any scratches on the wall.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
did.
He was smacking up those walls too.
He just didn't make all the scratches on the
Yeah.
walls.
No, but I mean, that one you left was good long scratch on the wall.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, stop before you damage it even more. But yeah, we used to time ourselves when we did
Mhm.
that. See who could do it the quickest.
Mm-hmm. And backwards.
Yeah, I don't.
So I think the moral of the story is tonight that when you grow up in Michigan, there's like not much to do, and so you have to try to be as creative as you possibly can. So I think that has to be. Maybe some of these stories seems like they would be dangerous or things, but it's like, yeah, well, if you're down in a big city, there's just a bunch of stuff to do, and you can go get in trouble like doing a lot of other things. Whereas in Michigan, where we were, you had to just get really creative to like pass the time by and try to have fun. So things that may seem dangerous to others were just like, this is how our minds work and what we do to pass time.
Yeah.
So, no, Britt, we appreciate you coming on, sharing your story. I know I have always appreciated who you were as an athlete and working hard. And yeah, just I think your personality and your love for people, your sense of humor. And so I think it gives everybody an opportunity to see all of our different personalities and how we're slightly different, but then how we're very, very similar in a lot of things. So thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I love that I was the first sister, if that means anything. So I mean, maybe I am the favorite sister. Like, I'm not sure. That would be another time, I guess.
There you go.
Take that home with you.
Yeah, we'll do.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
Peace out. See ya.
See you, everybody.
Thanks, weedy.